it's Cass. Welcome back to my channel, What Cass Read. Today I'm going to bring you a video that I'm not totally sure how it's going to turn out. As many of you know, the Goodreads Choice Awards winners have been announced for 2019, and as they do every year, there's just like this big rumble about the winners and why things were chosen. It's all a popularity contest, all of that stuff. And of course I take part in that grumbling too, because it's just like, there's so many good books out there, and it always seems like the most popular book that was released ends up being the winner. I thought, instead of complaining about it, maybe I should really try and do something about it for myself. You can join in on this if you want to, but it was mostly inspired by Books with Emily Fox, because I know this is something that she has done, but she does it on a much grander scale. I am personally wanting to take a look at the fantasy category for the Goodreads Choice Awards 2019 and to really see if Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo really is the best book that was released in 2019 for the fantasy category. This is where things get tricky because I don't remember how to screen capture. There we go. Oh, yes. All right. So I'm gonna put like a side-by-side screen caption on for everybody, so that way we can take a look at the category together, take a look at the books together, just to see where everything is at and see which books that I will be reading. Because there are 20 books that were the finalists in this category, and there's just too many books that I want to read, and I don't want to spend the entire year reading only Goodreads Choice Awards books. So how would I narrow down the books that I want to read? 2020, I want to read one book from the Goodreads Choice Awards fantasy category per month. And out of 20, how am I going to pick that? I actually used the BookTube SFF Awards like judging criteria that if the book is past the third book in the series, then I'm just going to nix that book altogether, because I just don't have the time to play catch up on maybe 10 other books in the series like one of these category winners or one of these finalists. If the book was like a new book in a series that took part in the same world as another one, and you were required to read the first series beforehand just to get the background knowledge of the world, that was another reason why I would nix a book. Plus there's already some books on this list that I have already read this year. Okay, so we have the winner. That's one that I'm definitely going to read because I have not gotten to it yet. That's Ninth House, written by Leigh Bardugo. It came in at 53,430 votes, but if you take a look at the number of ratings that Ninth House got, it's like half the amount of people who have actually rated this book at 22,317 ratings. 5,000 people have reviewed it on Goodreads. So that was another reason that like really spurred me to take a look at this category and really see if Ninth House was truly the best or if it was just because of its popularity. So anyways, we don't really need to get into that. I feel like Twitter has really hashed that out just to death. So the rest of the nominees, we have The Starless Sea, written by Erin Morgenstern. Definitely plan on getting to that one. Fire and Blood, A Targaryen History, #1. I actually did nix this one because I feel like I have read the entire Song of Ice and Fire series of books that are out right now. But because Fire and Blood, A Targaryen History requires previous knowledge from another set of books, then I am just saying no to that one. The Priory of the Orange Tree, that is actually my book club book for the month of December. So I'm currently reading that right now. So that'll like free up what I have to read for next year. The Red Scrolls of Magic, The Eldest Curses by Cassandra Clare. I was actually surprised to see this one in the fantasy section, 29,000 votes though. Is it because it was a Cassandra Clare book? But because this book is a part of the Shadowhunters world, it follows Magnus Bane and Alex, and I did read 5 out of the 6 books in the Mortal Instrument series, but it's just, no, I'm gonna cut that one out to save my life. The Winter of the Witch, #3 in the Winter Night trilogy. That is a book that I for sure will get to, written by Catherine Arden, because it's the 3rd book in a trilogy, so I will be able to work on that. Of Blood and Bone, Chronicles of the One, #2, written by Nora Roberts. I will get to that one because that is before the 3rd book. Okay, Storm Cursed, Mercy Thompson, #11. That one's out. If it's the 11th book, we don't have time for that, by Patricia Briggs. Black Leopard, Red Wolf, the Dark Star Trilogy #1, written by Marlon James. Yes, I just can't believe I didn't get to this book already, because that was actually one of my most anticipated releases for 2019, and I did not get to it. So that was already something that was on my TBR. It just didn't happen for this year already, so I'm glad that I have another reason and motivation to pick it up. Middle Game by Seanan McGuire. I wasn't aware that this was an adult book. I just assumed since it was Seanan McGuire, it was young adult. Same thing with The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harlow. This book, I'm actually going to be pretty honest that I'm nervous about this one because this one seems to be like really atmospheric and flowery writing, and I don't typically read those kinds of stories. I mean, I really love Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares, so what do I know about flowery writing, right? Gods of Jade and Shadow, written by Silvia Moreno Garcia. So this one, again, I thought this was young adult, which goes to show how much I actually paid attention to the releases this year. I've seen so many people talk about this book, and I'm pretty excited about it, except for, it's not an except for, it's just that I've tried to read Certain Dark Things, written by Silvia Moreno Garcia. It was her book about vampires in Mexico City, and I DNF'd that book. So that makes me nervous about Silvia Moreno Garcia as an author, not because of, I don't know, I might just have to get over it and obviously try it out. We had The Kingdom of Copper, the David Bond trilogy #2, written by S.H. Chakraborty, and I was really surprised that I didn't get to that book this year because I actually did purchase The Kingdom of Copper all the way back in January, and I haven't gotten to it yet. The Dragon Republic, written by R.F. Kuang, which is book #2 in the Poppy War series. And yes, I am so happy that I will have like another reason to pick this book up, because I have talked about how I really want more Asian-inspired fantasy written by Asian authors. I want own voices, Asian fantasy in my life, and R.F. Kuang did a really good job with the Poppy War as a debut. I did give that one 4 out of 5 stars. I was really nervous about where the story was going. I felt like there were just a lot of things that R.F. Kuang put at the very end of the Poppy War that was basically all just set up for the Dragon Republic. So when I finally get to the Dragon Republic, I feel like I'll be able to judge R.F. Kuang a little bit better as an author and see if things have improved for her. Dark Dawn, the Nevernight Chronicle #3, already read it, so we can cross that book off. That feels really good. The last book on this list, Holy Sister, Book of the Ancestor. Of course, I read that book already. That was one of my most anticipated releases for 2019. So that one, I can cross that off. But the remaining 4 books, so we'll just leave it on this screen for now. Magic for Liars, I think, is the last book on this list that I'm actually going to pick up, because I have never read that, never even heard of that book until now. And then The Burning White, since that's book #5, the final book of the Lightbringer series, I'm going to nix that for this Goodreads challenge. We have Age of Legend, written by Michael J. Sullivan, which is book #4 in the Legends of the First Empire series. I do own this book because I participated in the Kickstarter campaign that Michael J. Sullivan had to release the book, but I have not gotten to it yet. And this next book, A Little Hatred, The Age of Madness #1, written by Joe Abercrombie, I'm so upset that I'm going to nix this book, because I actually really want to read this book. But it takes place in the same world as the First Law trilogy, and I haven't read the First Law trilogy yet. It is a book series that I'm massively interested in. And I tried doing some research just to see, like, can I read this book without having read the First Law trilogy first? And it just sounded like a resounding no. So unfortunately, I had to cross that one off of my list. That leaves us with Ninth House, The Starless Sea, The Winter of the Witch, Of Blood and Bone, Black Leopard, Red Wolf, Middle Game, The 10,000 Doors of January, Gods of Jade and Shadow, The Kingdom of Copper, The Dragon Republic, and Magic for Liars, for a total of 11 books in my Goodreads Choice Awards reading challenge. So how I envision this working is I'm going to put all of these titles just on slips of paper, use my TBR jar, and pick one out at random per month, and that will be the book that I have to get to. My plan for the end of this challenge, when I get to all of these books, then I'm going to have like my own little wrap-up awards to figure out if Ninth House truly is the best book that came out in 2019. So let me know, what was your take on the Goodreads Choice Awards this year? I feel like I don't even have to pose that question because I feel like everybody had the same exact reaction. It was too white, the award winners. We had just a popularity contest and all that stuff, but this will allow me to at least focus on the fantasy releases of 2019 and just really see who the real contenders should have been. No tea, no shade. Leave Verdugo. Anyways, Twitter, Instagram, @whatcassread, the same as this channel. Super easy to find. This was a little bit of a different video for you today, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. And if you did, go ahead and click the like button and subscribe. You can find me on my Goodreads page, and then you know how these videos end. I'll talk to you later. Bye.